Perfect. And I'm going to share my screen. Give me just a minute here. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. As mentioned, welcome to the Marketing Committee call for CNCF for July. My name is Christy Tan. If we haven't met already, I lead marketing here at CNCF. And welcome. We're excited to have you all here. Hopefully you're in the right meeting where you're supposed to be. And we'll go ahead and get started. So first off, you made it. That's great. Just in case you needed the conference info, it's in here. A reminder that the call will be recorded. I've started the recording now. So if you don't want to be recorded, you're welcome to stay off camera and on mute. You can absolutely use the chat for questions and we'll answer those through there. And also a reminder, after this meeting is over, if you're looking for slides from this presentation and the recording, you can find them in these links here. Usually it takes about 24 hours for us to get those uploaded for you to use. Our next marketing committee call will resume our first Wednesday of the month cadence on August 3rd. So make sure that's on your calendar. We'll probably be diving a little bit more into things related to KubeCon as we get closer to that in Detroit. So excited to see you all there. And then just a reminder on the antitrust policy, if you're not familiar already, there's some info in here, but want to keep this meeting without the lawyers and don't discuss anything that you're not supposed to. So we've got a really full agenda today. Excited to hear from some community members about some exciting events that are coming up, as well as just some other initiatives that are going on around here. Let me just take a peek at the chat. Oh, hello. Awesome. So with that, we're going to kick it off by talking about ArgoCon. And I believe we have someone from the ArgoCon programming committee. Is there someone here to talk about ArgoCon? Hey,
hi, hey y'all, this is Sarah Davila. I lead partnerships and events at CodeFresh. And so I wanted to give some historical context about ArgoCon for those of y'all that aren't familiar with the event. Its inaugural event was last December, and it was led by those Argo maintainers, so CodeFresh, Acuity, Red Hat, BlackRock, and really it was a moment for us to come together and kind of talk about what was important to the Argo community, and we felt like the community really needed it, and the numbers proved that that was the case, right? We originally, as a maintainer group, set that registration goal at about 500, and y'all, we blew it out of the water with 3.8 thousand. Yeah, over 3,000 people registering for that event with an almost 50% attendance rate. Amazing sponsorships generated from that. And so this year, we came together as that maintainer group and we said, hey, let's elevate this program. Let's bring in the CNCF. Let's have them, help drive that registration and sponsorship and just like overall event programming for us. And so we come to y'all today as that maintainer group to say, participate in this event with us. If you aren't already sponsoring, we'd love to have you sponsor. If you haven't registered to attend the event, please do. We've got some great talks from across the Argo community. They're going to be there right now. It's a hybrid event, right? We're going to be in the Mountain View area in mid-September. We're also going to have that hybrid event component for those of y'all that can't get out to the Bay Area. And I think registration fees are super affordable. Last year it was 100% free, but this year we because we're going to do this on site, we've got to charge a little bit to get people there so that we can do that. Any questions? I'd love to take any questions for those of y'all that aren't familiar with ArgoCon, or I see we've got Dan on the line with us, Dan Garfield, who really was in my opinion, the spearhead behind getting that. I remember the day that Dan called me in July and was like, hey, let's get this going, Sarah. And it became a reality. Dan, do you have anything you want to add?
You put me on the spot. No, I think it's going to be a really great event.
Okay, cool.
The one that we did last year was just so incredibly popular, and the feedback was really strong. Everybody really loved it. This year, we're really glad that we can do these workshops because that's something that everybody really has wanted. And from what I can tell from the registrations, they've already been really popular. So it's cool to see that we're changing the format a little bit. and trying some new things. And there's more new things that we're going to be trying that'll be really interesting to see how they turn out. But yeah, I think it's really strong, and I've been really happy with the sponsorship so far, and I think there's more coming.
Awesome, thank you. And then if there's anybody else from the Argo maintainer group or that Argo events committee that just wants to share a couple words, I think now's the time. Otherwise, Christy, I think that might be the CTA right there. Register for ArgoCon or sponsor ArgoCon. We want to see you there.
Awesome, that's great so much. Thanks for sharing the historical context too. That's great. And everything you need to know is in the slide here as it relates to sponsorship. You can also check out the schedule that came out at the end of June, and then obviously the registration info is in there as well. So hope to see you all there. I'm planning to be there as well. So really looking forward to that. And thank you, Taylor, for the joke in the chat. That's great. Excellent. Okay, well, we'll move on. And I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Catherine from Buoyant to talk about the Cloud Native Glossary. Hey, Catherine.
Hey, yeah, so thanks again for giving us the chance to talk about the glossary again. So you may remember the glossary from previous meetings, and today I wanted to give you all a quick update and what's next. And so first of all is the question, why do we need a community-driven Cloud Native Glossary at all? And so I think we can all agree that vendors have done a great job at breaking these complex terms down, but our definitions, we're all marketers here, right, are not free from bias, right? And we may not be maintaining them and updating them as priority shifts. It may have been an SEO thing that we've done and so on. So it's probably not the best to leave vendors up to provide that type of content. So what is the best source to learn about these concepts? And so we believe it should be the Cloud Native community and the CNCF who own this, who own these definitions, who kind of make sure that they are there. And that's exactly what the CNCF glossary is trying to achieve, right? We want these definitions to be trusted, right? But backed by a neutral organizations, the CNCF, to be open source so anyone can help improve them and be a living thing, right? Technology changes really, really fast. So it's impossible to have one company, one person actually who makes sure that these things are always up to date. So I think this is a pretty valuable proposition and should be in the interest of, or at least I hope it's in the interest of everyone on this call. So quick status update. So we laid out the foundation. We have over 50 definitions. It's being localized in 9 languages, 7 are partially live. You can see here a little drop down. I'm really excited to see that we have Hindi, Portuguese, Italian, Korean, Spanish, Chinese, and Bengali, and some other ones coming very soon. And so the question, or today I wanted to have like my ask to you is like, use it. Use it when you're learning about Cloud Native, when you're onboarding new members to your team who are not very familiar with these concepts. So one of the things we should know, I should mention as well, like one of the goals that the glossary has is to explain these concepts in very simple terms, right? So you will see that most of them can be understood by people even without a technical background, right? So we want to make it really accessible because not only technologists need to know that, like people like us, people on the C-suite, they all need to understand these without necessarily being technical. So it's a great resource if you want to learn about it, if you're not new team members want to learn about it, then link to the definitions in your blogs and articles, right? Of course, we all, like every marketing team has their own keywords that they're going after, and you have your little things that you want to do for for your SEO. You're not going to use those, but there are a lot of Cloud Native terms that may not be very relevant to you. If that's the case, do your SEO thing, but also link to the relevant articles, relevant terms that are not necessarily your target keywords. And then when educating customers, again, same thing, like sometimes customers are not very familiar with all these terms. It's explained in a very easy to understand way. So use that resource to help them learn about it. So that is the use it. Then we have help improve it. As you use it, you will see things, right? Like gaps or things that could be better explained. Maybe you catch an outdated information. These things move super fast, right? We're not looking at it constantly. And some terms may be there already for a year and something may have changed. So yeah, just if you see something, submit a PR on an issue. And then you can also join the community, right? Become a contributor. You can either help to contribute new terms or contribute in the localization effort. And I just see we have Annalisa here. I'm just seeing her, right? She is up from the Italian team. So that's awesome. Yeah, she's one of the people behind the Italian glossary and making this content available to Italian speakers who maybe not everyone is so familiar with English. So making that much more easy to understand for Italian speakers. And then, so basically our goal is to become the most trusted, objective, up-to-date cloud native definitions and be the go-to resource for newbies and pros alike. But there is a little asterisk here. We really need your help to be that, right? Because you have to use it. You have to help get the word out. And if you use it, I think you're going to, see the benefits and how useful it is if you're learning with someone or trying to explain to someone these terms. And I added, you can see them here too in the notes. We have been publishing all these different a blog post for each language. These are super cool because you can learn from each team why they think it's important to localize the glossary in their language, and you learn a little bit about the language. So go check those out too. And that's it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Catherine, for the updates. Incredible to see all the different languages and how this project has grown. Does anybody have any questions about the glossary before we move on?
Hi. Yeah. Hi, Christy. This is Gary. How are you?
Hey, Gary. Good.
Hey, Catherine, have a quick question for you. Sorry, I wasn't just able to stay on with this project, but hey, bandwidth is bandwidth. Can people also consider that, and this is something that we struggle with even within our own team in terms of consistency on how these terms are used. Should we look at this also potentially as a style guide in terms of how, everybody, if I go find a dozen articles on cloud native, I'm going to find cloud native hyphenated in half of them. Some of them even turn them into one word. Should people look at this as a resource as, in that regards to that open source, it's 2 words, it's not hyphenated. Cloud native, it's 2 words, it's not hyphenated. There's a lot of disparity across all the organizations in terms of how these terms are actually used. So I'd like to think that, as we look at definitions, that we're also looking at usage as well.
We haven't been focusing on that. I think we haven't been hyphenating it because I think the CNCF doesn't do it. It's not right. Enough focus. So whenever I kind of review terms and stuff, I kind of make sure it's consistent. Yeah, but I don't see all of them because we have other maintainers as well, right? But I think we're consistent on that, but it's not something that we have thought about and said okay, this is going to be a style guide. We were more concerned about let's make sure we all
definitions
define them in the same way, right? And it's objective and it's not and that's the thing where it comes in when you have the community. Right now, we had a few people contribute, right? It's the opinion and the view of those people, and that's why I'm trying to ask everyone to participate, because it's just like with Wikipedia, right? So many people added it that it's a very reliable source, right? Today, right? It's just because so many contribute to it. So I think our focus was more on how should these terms be defined? That being said, it is open source. If you think, for instance, that is an important issue, that could be something to say okay, I think that's something that I want to take on, raise an issue, if that's something that we want to do. And so again, it's
I think
source.
Charlie,
only a few people. Yeah.
Actually, in chat, I think Charlie just solved all our problems.
Oh, okay. That's great. Thanks, Charlie.
I thought, in the back of my head, as I asked the question, I said, you know what? I'm pretty sure this exists. And now I'm saying the question and going, wait a minute. No, it exists already.
It's cool.
So,
I'm here to help.
Charlie.
This is what I do. I just swoop in gonna swoop out again now.
I'm gonna send that link to everybody on my team, because even within our own group, I've got inconsistency, and it just, to me, it's one of those things that, you know, as being a little OCD, it's one of those things that bugs me a little bit. Thanks, Charlie.
Awesome. Any other questions for Catherine before we move on?
I wanted to make one comment to the group.
Sure.
I saw a comment a little bit that people were saying, well, I'm not familiar with GitHub to help give back and get involved. And I just wanted to give a shout out to not worry. If you do have questions, Catherine and Jason and other maintainers of the project would be happy to help you. I'm also not a super expert, but I can help as well. So don't let some of the tooling scare you. We want to help get everybody engaged and participating in the project. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to us and the maintainer.
Yeah, and just adding to that, actually, that we updated the how to contribute, and it's done for non-technical people. I literally, because I'm non-technical, and I don't know, first time I looked at GitHub, I was like, what is this? I had no idea what I was looking at. So I know how it feels like looking at a GitHub page and not knowing what I mean. So literally there is like there's one screenshot for every single click. So, I mean, and of course we can help as well. But like, if you look at the contribute guide, it should be pretty easy. And if not, like, we have the Glossary channel on the CNCF Slack where people are happy to help as well.
Thanks, Catherine.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up, Caitlin. That's a great point. Cool. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and move on. And I'm going to pass the mic to Charlie to talk about our transparency report, which, if you haven't seen it, it's gorgeous. So I'll let Charlie talk a little bit.
Oh, thank you, Christy. I think it's gorgeous too, but like, since it's my child, I sort of don't have any other opinions that it's perfect. But it is now live, and we would love your feedback. If you have any comments or any data you think, oh, maybe you could have presented that in a different way, or we'd like to see more of that, please let me know. You can email the content team at content@cncf.io. Again, actually, just another thing to point out, obviously, some data will change, particularly things like media coverage keeps rising. Views on YouTube keep rising. So if you need any updated stats for your own internal reporting, just shout and we can help you out there.
Great. And Charlie, I'll let you talk about the Cloud Native survey as well.
Oh, thank you. This is good. I sort of like stacked them all together. Yes, the Cloud Native survey is now live. It is out in the field, and we would love to hear from you. What we do with the survey every year is go out to the wide community and really find out, how are you using Cloud Native projects? What are the trends? What are the fun things that are going to be happening? And this really helps us as the CNCF to actually direct resources in the right direction for the years to come. This year, we've got it in multiple languages. Of course, there's English, but we also have a Chinese version and a Japanese version for our friends out in Asia. And when you complete the survey, you get a 25% off coupon for any LF training or certification. And this is valid through until the 1st of August. So please encourage your engineers, your CTOs, your product managers, tell them to go and take this Cloud Native survey, because it really does help the wider community.
Great. Any questions about the transparency report or the survey before we move on? Looking at the chat, I think we're good. All right. And then just a friendly reminder that our lovely marketing committee chair, Carla, I think you might be on this call. Hey, Carla. Carla has office hours the second Tuesday of every month at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. If you want to chat with her one-on-one about, initiatives in the marketing committee, or just kind of chat and get to know each other, talk about online programs, whatever you'd like, that's the open time to do that. You can also reach out to CNCF staff for questions too, but just a reminder about that. And that covers our announcements section. So I'll go ahead and dive into our membership section. So big shout out to our new silver members. Wow, it was a really busy couple months with new members here. So welcome to all of our new silver members. If you're new in the chat, feel free to say hi. We're happy you're here and happy to welcome you. And then our long-going member acquisition slide here, we like to kind of track movement across the cloud native ecosystem here. It looks like the last movement was in May. If we've missed something or something needs to be updated, feel free to let us know. But just if you're curious about acquisitions, they're on this slide. And that takes us into our PR/AR slides. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Chad. Hey, Chad.
Hey, folks. It's Chad from the PR/AR social team. Jesse is on PTO this week, and Katie's been a little bit under the weather, but we're all holding down the fort in their place. And if you need anything, just email pr@cncf.io and you'll get a faster response than just emailing maybe Jesse or Katie directly on things. I'm going to kick off with a few PR highlights, and then I'm going to pass it over to the AR team as a really nice presentation that they put together today for their first half of the annual analyst report, which includes a lot of detailed research, which I think everybody on this team will appreciate. And you all should have access to it. If you don't, you will have access. It's all linked in here in the slide. So I'll let the team touch on that in 2 or 3 slides. Like we usually do to start, just a few highlights from the month. I want to highlight this Mercedes-Benz article and really strong coverage from Scott Carey, who's a UK reporter but writes for InfoWorld, more traditionally a US publication. If anyone was at KubeCon Valencia, you may have seen the keynote for Mercedes-Benz, which was I thought was one of the better keynotes. It was exceptional. And they touched on their use case of running on 900 Kubernetes clusters, which I thought was just amazing. And the team there luckily was able to do some media interviews for us. And as you know, from CNCF side, we always try to put end users into as much coverage as possible and try to get those stories out there. In addition to the great job Charlie does running the case study program. So this is just one great article that highlighted it. And then the next article from Computing, which is another UK publication, also ran the same story. So it's just nice to see the coverage from KubeCon continuing to come in, and then also just seeing some more global EMEA-based coverage, just given we were all in Valencia. Not surprising to see, but I wanted to call those out. And then the third article for this month, I mean, there's so many, so it's sometimes hard to choose just a handful, but this one from Protocol I thought was really great. Priyanka participated in. If any member companies or anyone on the call has participated in some of these brain trust type of curated articles that they often run, they ask questions, and this one around cloud native app development was clearly in all of our wheelhouses. And it's nice to see a business outlet like Protocol taking an interest in cloud native and app dev, modern app dev. And of course, Priyanka was quoted alongside many of our member companies like GitLab, I think Kong, CockroachDB, HashiCorp, and a few others were all in the article. So just nice to see that topic continue to be discussed in our media community. With that being said, I'll come back on a few other slides, but let me pass it over to the analyst team to walk through this really, really meaty report they put together, which I encourage everyone to take a look, and you can see it's linked right there. So if you don't have access, just request it.
Cool. Thanks, Chad. Hey, everyone. If we haven't met, I'm Carl. I'm on the CNCF Analyst Relations team. And yeah, I wanted to flag over this new H1 report for everyone. It's an Analyst Relations report. We do this, used to do it quarterly. We're doing it every half year now. It's a pretty meaty report, and it includes some key takeaways on what's trending within analyst research this year, as well as a landscape of key industry and analysts, and then a library of significant quotes and articles as well. So I definitely strongly recommend that you take a look at it, and then you pass it along to your analyst relation teams as well, so that they can use some of the resources that are in there. I also want to introduce our intern this summer. He's on the analyst relations teams, Avakai. He's been instrumental in pulling together some of this research, and he's going to be speaking to the few areas of the report as well. You can hop to the next slide, Christy.
Hi, everyone. I'm Avakai, and I'll be starting off with some key takeaways we came across through our research. One significant shift we are seeing in analyst research and conversations is the movement towards the issues around the adoption of Kubernetes and large-scale deployments. Analysts are interested in how to address skilled labor challenges, maturing DevOps practices, and thoroughly enjoy hearing and writing about best practices. This is why CNCF case studies continue to be popular with the analyst audience. Research on ROI, organizational best practices, and cost management are also on the rise.
Cool. Another key takeaway from our research is that the broader CNCF landscape as a whole is becoming a growing part of the conversation. Our data shows that there's an increase in interest around various other projects other than Kubernetes projects, and particularly when it comes to cloud native security and observability. We're seeing a lot of interest in those right now as well.
We are observing new analysts being brought in to enhance firms' coverage on cloud native technologies. I want to introduce the new Forrester analyst covering cloud native development, Devin Dickerson. Devin is joining the Forrester team with Lee Sustar and Brent Alias, who are regular attendees at KubeCon events, as well as avid writers and researchers on cloud native development. Next slide.
Cool, and here's some research from Lee Sustar and John Collins on their thoughts on the market and the ecosystem. And I just want to share these with everyone. So if you, well, they're all public, they're all on blogs. So if you have a little bit extra free time, great articles to read up on. Cool, thank you. These reports by 451 cover the state of Kubernetes market and the analysts' reflections on KubeCon EU. Because they have really long editorial cycles, we're still seeing articles come out around KubeCon EU, as well as the broader cloud native landscape, including Horizon platform teams. There's some growing traction in the telecom realm, and there's continued focus on securing the software supply chain as well. Cool, and then last but not least, Gartner and ESG are both reinforcing the cloud native modernization, and it's on the rise, and organizations are continuing to recognize its value. Gartner has a new CTO guide report that's out, and it covers some large themes within the industry, and is definitely worth a read if you have access. Really high level, but gets into different aspects of the whole industry. And then as well, I also just wanted to flag this report by Paul. It's actually an article. Paul writes for ESG, and he's continuing to write about these trends. And this tech target article is summarizing a bunch of his research. So if you're looking for an easy way to get this that's not gated, this is a great way, and it's available for everyone to read and enjoy. So that's it for AR this month. So thank you everyone so much. If you have any questions, you can ping me on Slack.
Yeah, thank you both so much for that. I mean, it is a tremendous resource. That last article that Carl called out from ESG ran in Tech Target. As some of you may know, Tech Target purchased ESG. So we're seeing a lot of synergies there between the analyst group, both being quoted in a lot of Tech Target articles, but also being able to contribute content, the editorial content, let's say, as well. And if you haven't requested or haven't looked at that report, we weren't really joking. We said it's pretty meaty. I mean, it's not everything under the sun, but it's pretty darn close. So thank you to Trisha Cooper, who runs the analyst group, and Carl and Avikai for putting that together. We'll do another report at the end of the year that kind of pulls it all together like we've done in the past. So you'll have the full 12 months plus the second half of the year all together there. Going back to media for a quick second. Oh, and just if you have questions on that too, obviously put them in the chat, and then you can also email pr@cncf.io, and it'll get to Trisha, Carl, and Avikai that way as well. On CNCF media coverage, so just a quick review of the key messages that are resonating. We use our TrendKite account to pull these. For those who are on the call frequently, you've seen these before. Security still seems to be the top trending topic. We can't escape it. Machine learning and AI continue to be at the top as well. None of this has really changed. And those are two topics we don't spend as much time proactively pushing as, say, edge or storage or networking or serverless, but they still seem to really resonate very highly in terms of what media are covering. So if you have things that tie into that, it's always good. Graduating projects, no surprise, top three: Kubernetes, Prometheus, and Envoy. And then the rest kind of flow down from there. There's actually, and then on incubating, we've run the same kind of search. There's 2 slides on incubating, in case you're curious. It's just a little bit of a bug within TrendKite where it cuts us off after a certain number of projects. So don't look at these slides 29 and 30 as any different. Just look at like the final numbers. You can see which incubating projects are getting the most coverage in the press. Thanks, Christy, for the toggle there. And with that, I'll pass it over back to Christy for content marketing.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chad and Carl and Avakai and Trisha. I can't wait to read the analyst report. I'm super excited. I love reading those. So really appreciate all that work. And as Chad said, that's a huge value. You know, that's something that our team spends a lot of time putting together, but also if you don't have an AR team in-house, it's a really great resource to just get a pulse on what analysts are saying and find quotes for your own content, et cetera. So with that, we'll go ahead and move into our content marketing, and I'm going to pass it over to Libby to talk about online programs. Hey, Libby.
Hey y'all, how's it going? So I'll do a quick overview of our online programs. In June, we also had 1 week off due to the open source summit. So in total, we had 2 live streams with an average of 36 viewers per session and almost 4,000 total watched minutes. So these are getting a lot of attention and a lot of review, especially post-event as well. So I get a lot of questions usually, what kind of gets the most traction, and really they all do, especially on their own time after the fact. So keep submitting that content and keep participating because your content is definitely being viewed. And as always, if you have questions or want to check in on your stats, just let me know and I'm happy to pull those for you. In addition, we had 6 on-demand webinars and 2 live webinars. So the registration numbers are still looking good. The live attendance is good for the live webinars as well. And all in all, we're just, y'all are providing some great content. So keep putting it out there.
And Libby, the calendar for Q3 opened
Yes, calendar
as well,
opened,
right?
Yes, the calendar opened, I think, last week officially. We've got lots of requests coming in, but there are still lots of dates available. So keep submitting and sending those over to us so that you can secure your dates. And also, if you can, please be sure to submit a title and abstract so that we can get it posted online and start promoting it.
Awesome. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
All right. So then also Cube Weekly, y'all are continuing to send us some great content for this. And this is just a quick overview of June. You can see our max opens and clicks. Overall, I think it's really still being reviewed quite well, and keep sending your content over. There's the links for the guidelines, where to send it, and how to subscribe. So continue to do so. And if you ever have questions, just let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Libby. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Charlie to talk about a few slides. So, hey, Charlie.
Yeah, hello again. So we launched the Humans of Cloud Native back at KubeCon, and I've had so many amazing nominations, which is absolutely fantastic. So this project just aims to tell the stories of our incredible individuals in the community, the things that they're doing, the projects they're working on, how they got started in Team Cloud Native. And if you'd like to work with us to produce one of these features, maybe it's for someone that you work with, someone that you've met in the community, someone who's been a great mentor to you, please reach out to me. We've got our own dedicated email address now, humans@cncf.io, which is manned by me, and I'm not a bot, I promise you. We just want to hear more of the fantastic things that the community is doing. And end user case studies. You heard Chad say before how valuable these have been to the media. So please, if you have any case studies that you want to share, remember that you can submit them really easily. It's a self-service model. So all you have to do is follow the guidelines, write it up using our style guide, which you all now have as well, and submit your proposal via GitHub. We are getting these up fast and furiously for you all. The latest was with PNC Bank, and I'm working on 3 with members this month already. So if you would like case study before KubeCon, do remember, please, please, please let me know ASAP. And blogs, the blog continues to do incredibly well. So we had almost 50,000 unique views last month, which is fantastic. And again, with our metrics, we have these publicly available for you. All you need to do is click on that link that you can see on the slide here, and you can toggle between looking at how the blogs are performing and also how your case studies are performing. So feel free to use those for your internal reporting as well.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Charlie and Libby. Any questions on any content marketing related things before we move on to events? All right, so we'll move into events, and I'm going to pass it over to Katie Greenlee to talk about KCDs. Hey, Katie.
Hi, everyone. Just wanted to do a quick shout out to Kubernetes Community Days. These events are hosted by individual organizers within the community in certain areas. We have a few upcoming events like KCD Pakistan and KCD Taiwan in July. KCD Malaysia and KCD Sri Lanka is happening in August. If you're local to those areas, we definitely invite you to check it out. If you're local to any upcoming KCDs that are happening in the latter half of the year, so that's happening in September all the way through the end of the year into the beginning of 2023, there's some CFP deadlines. Definitely encourage everyone to go, who are local to those areas, to go and submit. We are starting to host an organizer working group meeting. It's our first meeting is next week on July 19th at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. CST. If you'd like to come and join that call, it's open. Feel free to email KCD at cncf.io and we can get you added. This is a great time to talk to other organizers, to learn about the program and participate. I also want to take a moment and introduce Audra Montenegro, who is our new KCD program manager.
Thank you, Katie. Hi, folks. It's an honor to be here, and I'm just super stoked to meet you all. And it's been awesome to kind of meet every KCD organizer that I've come across with Katie thus far.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Katie and Audra. Audra, super happy to have you. And wow, oh my gosh, all these CFPs. I highly recommend maybe your KubeCon submission that didn't make it or something that you've got cooking. It's a great place to plug in, especially to the local areas. So love to see that. Yeah, and then Katie, do you want to talk about the events we'll be at slide? And then maybe I'll pass it over to Vanessa.
Yeah, I can talk through the events we'll be at. Vanessa is not on the call right now.
Oh, okay, no worries. I can do her slides, no problem.
Okay. So we have some really great upcoming events that we'll be participating at. Scale 19X is an event that's coming up at the end of July. We've done a call out to anyone who's in the community who will be at that event to join us in the booth. We'd love to have you talk about your story and why you're involved in the community and what your company is doing. We'll also be at OSS ELC EU in September and Supercomputing in November, as well as OSS Japan. We are adding additional events that we'll be sponsoring throughout the year, so be on the lookout for those. But if you will be at any of these events in the throughout the year, feel free to join us in the booth. We'd love to have you kind of talk about your story and why you're part of this great community.
Awesome, thanks. All right, I will go ahead and go through the event slide. So we have KubeCon North America happening in Detroit this October. Many of you probably are already starting to make your plans here, but be sure to register. The standard registration deadline is August 10th, and then the prices will go up. Be on the lookout for the schedule announcement coming on August 3rd, which is exciting. And then the sponsorship deadline wraps up next Friday, July 22nd. So you'll have time to get your sponsorship requests in. We also have lots and lots of colos coming up. It's exciting to see all the momentum here. There are sponsorship opportunities for all of these, as well as CFP opportunities and registration. It looks like the sponsorship deadline for these closes on August 12th. Well, if I can read. So if you're interested in sponsoring any of these, I'm going to go through them in the slides here. Feel free to reach out. And this is a great place to as well add this to your registration, if whether there's a project you want to dive into or a specific sector that you're interested in. That's great. So I'll just start going through the colos real quick, and then I'll take a look at the chat for any questions. So we've got new one, Backstage Con, which is exciting. Cloud Native Security Con is happening. WASM Day, Knative Con is new. That's exciting. We've also got Kubernetes Batch and HPC Day. And you can read about all of these with the day they're happening, the CFP, et cetera, in the slides here. EnvoyCon, Cloud Native Telco Day, Open Observability Day, GitHubsCon, lots of good stuff in here. Kubernetes AI Day, Kubernetes on Edge Day, Prometheus Day, and Service Mesh Con. Wow, that was really hard for me. Sorry about that. Again, all of the information about how to register, as well as submitting CFPs that are coming, and sponsorship is all in the slides here. And then just a shout out to our sponsors for helping us make this event a reality, specifically our all of our sponsors, but want to give a shout out to our diamond sponsors, AWS, Cisco, Intel, Kasten by Veeam, Prisma Cloud by Palo Alto Networks, and VMware. Oh, thanks, Katie, for responding to the question in the chat about attendance. That's great. Any questions on events before? I think that takes us through our agenda. I've got a couple appendix slides I'll go through really quick, but any event questions for folks before I move on? Okay, great. So that takes us to the end of our agenda today. Just here in the appendix, if you're new, we've got some relevant links as it relates to where you can find the slides for this presentation, as well as the recording. Like I said, it takes about 24 hours for us to get it uploaded. There's also a events CFP calendar if you want to opt into that, and an email list that you're welcome to as well. We've also got some member resources in here, member welcome deck, how to get involved with the TOC, style guides, etc. Link to the job board. So lots of great stuff in here if you're new. And then also recommend checking out the Building Your Brand sessions that kind of walk through these different opportunities and how you can leverage them. Of course, you're welcome to reach out to anyone on our team to walk you through what you're eligible for within your membership, or if you have questions about any of these programs, we're here to help. And then if you're curious, there are some stats in here about our various training courses and certifications, and you're welcome to peruse those as well. And with that, that takes us to the end of the deck. Any last minute burning questions before we let folks go? Looks like we'll give people some time back, which is always a good thing. All right, well, with that, I'll go ahead and close out the call. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Hope everyone stays cool, has a great rest of the week, and we will see you all in August. Thanks everyone, bye.
Bye, thank you.